Advanced Studio Classroom is on the air. Thanks for joining us in advance today as we keep fit as we study together of how we can improve our physical condition. So stay with us and have a good time. Well, we're glad you're here today, the panelists, and I'm Doris, and I like to have these people with me as we discuss the article. And we have Pauline again. Pauline, it's so nice to have you on the program. You're usually on Let's Talk, but don't you think it's fun to come to Advance sometimes?
I always love being on Advance, especially when I get to do it with you, Doris. And you're the perfect person for today's article in particular, since we're championing the right to age well. I don't know anybody who has aged as well as you have.
Well, we have to keep on, and that's one thing that we're going to learn is how we can keep fit, because if we're in good physical condition, it doesn't really matter how old we are.
That is right.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we have with us today, who else?
Hey, everybody, it's Jack here. Glad to be back with you again on this Keeping Fit article.
And we've all picked up a few little tips about keeping our heads up and our shoulders back, haven't we?
That's right. And talking about how in the office it's so easy to slouch or slump in our chair, and then that will cause our muscles to atrophy or weaken. And so how important it is to keep the right posture so that we can stay strong and also for the health of the whole body.
How have you been doing?
And you did mention older people. And sometimes older people, they're not in the office, but they're sitting at home on a couch watching TV.
Yeah.
Do you think they slouch sometimes?
That's a really good point. We should also apply that to at home watching TV or in classrooms, right? When you're sitting in class taking notes, it's hard not to slouch. There's so much sitting in our life. We really do need to think about it.
That's right.
Jack, how have you been doing on that today?
Well, I'll say part of the day, not the whole day.
You're sitting up quite straight now. That's
well, now that Pauline is asking me about it.
That's right.
I know. I realized both of us were slouching a little bit in the studio.
Yeah.
So we both
we do.
pulled our shoulders back. We've got our heads up high now, and we are ready to talk about our next day of fitness, because now we're kind of switching to a different topic for fitness,
That's true.
right?
We are. And we're on page 33. We're talking about some people who are aging well. Now, everybody's aging because every day you're a day older. You're aging. And sometimes that word sounds terrible. Aging, who wants to be old? But on the other hand, if you age well, you don't think about it. I never think about how old I am, really, except everybody else always tells me, oh, you know how old you are. But actually, if you just enjoy what you're doing, and you can age well. Don't you think so, Pauline?
I think I have a lot to learn from you on that area. You definitely are a good example of that. And it sounds like the person in our article today also has some great things to share on that.
And so we have to champion that. It says champion the right to age well. That means to stick up for it. Yes. When we get older, we don't have to say, oh, I can't do this anymore. We don't feng qi. We don't want to just give up.
That's right. Yeah, this word champion, it means like to support or defend or even fight for a person or a belief or a principle. So if you're championing the right to age well, it means you're fighting for people being able to age well.
Well, and high school students are studying advanced and college students, but a lot of older people in retirement homes are studying advanced. There's no certain age. This is something for all of us to do, whatever age. Isn't that true?
That's right. And we're so grateful to you for joining us. Thank you, no matter what age you are, for actually working on not only your physical fitness, but also your mental fitness and learning something new.
Right. So we welcome everybody all over the world today, page 33, and we're going to read the first section down through line 22. So get ready to read along with us.
Championing the right to age well. In 1967, one of today's most iconic runners made her mark in history. Despite an angry official who tried to push her off the course of the Boston Marathon, Kathrine Switzer defiantly ran on, broke barriers, and became the first woman to officially complete the legendary race. Today, Switzer continues to defy the odds. In 2017, at 70 years old, she ran the 26.2-mile Boston Marathon again to celebrate the 50th anniversary of her historic milestone and continued to inspire others to break new ground. She also announced a partnership with the health and well-being company Humana to help celebrate seniors, encourage them to take an optimistic view of aging, and live healthy, active lifestyles. Switzer shared tips on how she maintains an optimistic outlook on aging and why she believes that great things are ahead when your health is ready, no matter what age you are.
Okay, so we start off going back to 1967, and one of today's most iconic runners, and this person we're talking about is Kathrine Switzer. And why is she iconic?
Well, there's a really interesting story around her that I'd actually never heard before. I always love that about being on Advanced here. I frequently learn new things. And today, what I'm learning about is this really historic runner. And the reason that she's historic or iconic is because she ran in the Boston Marathon before it was officially okay for women to compete in the marathon. So she was defiantly basically saying she didn't care about the rules. She was defiantly running in it, even though she wasn't supposed to be in it, broke these barriers and became the first woman to officially complete this huge, well-known race. But it wasn't without problems along the way. She actually had an official who was so angry that a woman was running in the race that he tried to push her off course, but she got by him and she was able to finish the race. So what a crazy story.
That is really crazy. I mean, I can't even imagine.
I didn't know that either, did you?
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard this. I can't even imagine, just people looking down on you and like feeling the
but it's all
attitude.
for men, it's all men running. So it would probably seem kind of strange. But he could have very nicely said, well, I'm sorry, you can't do this. But she was determined.
Yeah, even physically trying to shove her off of the race, that's just ridiculous. Wow.
Well, she defied that. When you defy something, you said, I'm not going to accept that. And it says in line 10 that today, Switzer, she still continues to defy the odds.
To defy the odds. Yeah, this is an interesting phrase. It means here the odds means your chances of being able to do something. And maybe the chances are very low for her to be able to succeed at something, but she defies that. She's able to break through and succeed where the odds say she shouldn't. That's kind of where I think that we're going with this.
Okay, so she's probably 72 now, right?
Yes, that's right. It said in 2017 at 70 years old, so she'd be 72 now. But back in 2017, she ran the 26.2-mile Boston Marathon again. This was 50 years, the 50th year anniversary of her race back in 1967.
It was a historic milestone. When something never happened before, we say it was a milestone. People notice it. They can count the time from that. Yeah. And it inspires people, doesn't it?
That's right. It says it had this story of what she did has inspired others to break new ground. And when we say to break new ground, we just mean to do something for the first time, to do or discover something. And here I would guess when we're talking about the kind of inspiration that she's giving is maybe for women or for people of various races or ethnicity to be doing things for the first time that their group of people has never been allowed to do or never succeeded at. And she gave really an example of, as a woman, being able to succeed at something that before nobody had done and they really weren't allowing women to do. But she defied that and broke past that barrier, and it encourages others to do the same.
And now
That's
she's
right.
working with this company, this Humana company. And what does that company actually do?
Yes, it's a health and well-being company, and they help celebrate seniors and encourage them to take an optimistic view of aging to live healthy, active lifestyles. And so it seems she's championing now like two different things, championing people, like Pauline mentioned, like breaking new ground and taking a stand, being the first person to take a stand in some area. And she's also championing staying healthy and active in your later years.
That word optimistic is good.
That is a very good optimistic, just meaning you have a positive outlook, that you don't let difficulties bring you down and make you feel negative about the world around you. And I was thinking, really, yes, an elderly population, an aging population is another group that maybe we kind of push to the margins. You don't expect them to be able to do certain things. And it's not that you say, oh, you're not allowed to run in the marathon, but you don't expect them to. And so she's trying to push back on that barrier now and say, no, there are ways for people who are aging to stay healthy and still be able to compete and be a part of these activities that everyone else has assumed we won't be a part of anymore. But that's not necessarily true.
And so it's important for the people who are older, but it's also important for their families because they don't need to worry about their mom and dad not being happy, because if they're optimistic, they're doing all these other things, and there's no reason they shouldn't do them, see?
Absolutely. Man, I can tell I like Catherine a lot already. We really need people like this who will tell us what we need to hear and not just what we hear all the time already.
Right, and she was sharing these tips on how she maintains or keeps up her optimistic outlook on aging. Now, if you ask how many people have an optimistic outlook on aging, do you think very many do?
I think that's a good point, Doris. Especially in the West, I don't think we have the best outlook on aging. I think everybody's afraid of it. They're trying to avoid it in any way possible to even admit that they are aging. But, there's a lot of wisdom to be gained in aging, and there's so much growth in our understanding of how we can age well when it comes to our physical bodies remaining fit as well, that there are a lot of reasons to be optimistic about that aging process. And we're actually going to hear some tips on like how to continue to be optimistic as you age.
That's true, because she believes that there's great things ahead for you, and she said, when your health is ready, no matter what age you are. So health, keeping fit, is very important. And it isn't how old you are, but it's how active you are and how positive and optimistic you are. So we're going to read some of these. There's about 5 or 6 of them on here. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like we have 5 tips from her, and I think we're going to start with the first 3 on the left column, right?
Okay, let's read the first 3.
Don't let your age define you. The biggest tip is to realize that you're never too old, too slow, or too out of shape to begin living an active lifestyle. Take it one step at a time. Start small and build on your efforts in small intervals. Listen to your body and be proud of your progress. 2 is better than 1. To help you stay motivated, get a buddy who has similar fitness goals. There are few things greater than sharing victories and accomplishments with someone close.
Well, there's some very good tips here, and I like this first one. It says, don't let your age define you. Doesn't matter how old you are. Sometimes I meet people who are a lot younger than I am, and they say, oh, I can't do that anymore. And I say, why not? I'm too old. Don't let your age define you. You don't have to be too old to do things. The biggest thing is that you're never too old. If you keep in shape, you can have an active lifestyle. You can still enjoy life when you're old.
Absolutely. And, whether it's your age or whether you feel like you're too weak or too slow, I really
Whether
like...
you're a man or a woman. Never mind.
Yeah. I really like that. Okay, so it's easy to say, I can't run. I can't run a marathon. There's no way I can do that. But you know what? There are things that we can do, like if you can just go for a short walk or use some exercise bands to stretch a little bit or something, and then slowly you can do a little bit more.
And you can still go scuba diving when you're older. I still do. Yeah.
I hope I can do it for a very long time. Yeah, I think the key point here is don't let your age stop you from starting new habits, trying new things.
You say, I'm too old to do that.
Right, exactly.
I'm too young or too old, either one.
Either way, exactly.
Define your
right.
age,
And, we do have limitations that we have to be honest about. And like Jack said, you're not going to suddenly go out and run a marathon. Of course not. I couldn't suddenly go out and run a marathon.
Yeah.
But I'm getting to that age where I need to start telling myself, it's okay, I should have started this habit 20 years ago.
But I can still do it.
But I can still start it now. And, there's still benefits to be reaped, even if, sure, it would have been great had I been a little wiser when I was younger and started these habits sooner.
But it says to take one step at a time and a small start, and you start it, and don't try to just do everything at once. Don't just go out and run a marathon. Just start walking more, start doing more exercise. And listen to your body and be proud of your progress. Boy, I'm stronger than I used to be. So just take it one step at a time. That's very important. In learning a language, in exercise, or whatever you do, we have to do it.
I think that's a really good point. It's not just about, these are good tips, not just for physically pushing yourself, but mentally learning new things, doing new things. And there's this balance, right? Some of us, what we need to hear is the push to go out and push ourselves a little more, to try to start something new and stop using excuses. But for other people, the message they need to hear of balance is, but don't push yourself so far that you hurt yourself or you do too much all at once. You also need to listen to your body and be aware of where you're at and taking it one step at a time, not trying to learn everything at once or do an entire race, right the very first day you decide to start being a runner. Everything's about, a little step at a time and consistency.
Well, even athletes, before they play a game, they warm up their muscles first. They don't just run out and play football or soccer.
Right.
Exactly.
So you have to do it one step at a time. Well, Jack, do you think that it's better to have somebody do it with you too is better than one? I think it's more fun than just doing it by yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only is it more fun, but there is more that you can do. So they say it can help you stay motivated. Of course, that's obviously if you're both going for a goal, then you can help encourage each other towards it, help get each other going when you don't feel like going out. But there are... And it says also you can share victories and accomplishments with someone else, and that's great. And there's also just like, you can maybe go further, or you can do some kind of activity like maybe play tennis or something like that you wouldn't be able to do if you're just by yourself.
Again, this is a great tip also for whether it's language learning or learning another skill, finding somebody else, whether that's by starting to go to a class or finding a small group, or, maybe the library has some kind of, they've organized a group for people who are interested in learning something. Finding people who also are excited about doing that and will encourage you. I think that will really help maintain your motivation to learn and get better at whether that's physical fitness or other things. It keeps up your social skills too, because you don't want to just be the kind, just what you think, and you need to listen to others and spend time with others. So it's good to be with others. There's nothing wrong with that, and do it together with somebody. You're responsible for that, you know, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple more things. Let's finish these. Let's read the last two.
Make time for rest. Equally as important as staying active is ensuring that your body recovers from the stress endured from physical activity. Spread the word. Switzer recently took her message to the National Senior Games presented by Humana. One example of how the company is committed to championing seniors and breaking barriers, namely the stereotypes associated with seniors in today's society, and proving that with a healthy body and mind, age is truly just a number. While at the Games, she participated in the 10K road race in a celebratory role and presented an inspiring and encouraging speech at the celebration of athletes. I think optimism is everything, and you don't have to be a marathon runner to possess it, Switzer says.
Well, it's important to, of course, to take time to rest, whatever age you are. Sometimes people forget that. Young people and older people, we need to work hard, and we also need to rest sometimes. Isn't that true?
Absolutely. And I know I've heard many times that not just like taking a day off, but particularly giving your body time to sleep is really, really important for any kind of physical activity. So, yeah, I mean, the stress that you endure in a physical activity, the stress is the idea of like what your muscles are experiencing, your bones and so on. And really, we need rest time in order for those to become, to recuperate or recover.
Man, I just keep thinking, and again, this is just so applicable to so many things, right? If we're really studying hard and we're trying to learn a new language or we're trying to, succeed at a class that we're just studying, we need to give ourselves some mental breaks, right? We need to be able to rest, sleep enough. Also,
you're listening in to advance. It gives you a little rest. Some of the great presidents in the United States, they used to read mysteries and all, just to give their minds a rest. After all, sometimes your mind has to think about something else, or read the comics, or have fun with your friends, play games.
There you go. Exactly. Doris and I like to play games. That's one of our preferred ways of resting.
There's different ways of resting your mind and resting your body. They all need rest, but then you can still exercise. Do both.
Right. And it also makes me think, too, that it's just we need to be aware of not just one area that we're trying to improve and be so solely focused on that we forget the other things. So maybe you get really excited about running and you're really focused on that fitness part, but if you're not resting and drinking plenty of water and having a healthy diet,
you have to do that,
if you forget all that other stuff, you're not really doing yourself a favor either. So it's, finding balance, right? And having kind of a holistic approach to your health and your well-being physically and mentally.
Well, this article, of course, is mostly about this lady because she's very, very unusual, and she's spreading the word, and she took her message to the National Seniors Games. They have a National Seniors Games, and she's really done so many things to break barriers, hasn't she?
Yeah, this is a really interesting woman. I'm glad we're getting to learn about her today. I can't believe I've never heard of her before.
I know. We can learn so many new things when we study advance, right?
Yeah, and it says that she's breaking barriers, namely the stereotypes associated with seniors in today's society. And that's right. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of societies have stereotypes. That is like a cultural image or picture that we have of something. But you know what? Those stereotypes should be challenged if they are not accurate. And definitely, seniors are capable of so many things. A lot of people are choosing to work and not retire, and they still have a lot to contribute. And yeah, that's what we should challenge. That idea of what seniors are able or not able to do.
Stereotypes, you say, well, women can't do this, men can't do that, and kids can't do that. Those are stereotypes. People say that. Or different nationalities are better than others. Those are all stereotypes. We've got to get rid of those, don't we?
Exactly.
We're all human beings. But you can prove that a healthy body and mind, if you are healthy, age is just a number. You just lived that many years. You went through a lot. You saw a lot. And it's just a number. And that's kind of the way I feel about it. Well, you never know, am I really this old? Well, you just do what you can do, and you can still have a happy life and have fun.
That's right. I was thinking about this as a tip, too. So spread the word. That's what we're learning about the example of how Switzer is spreading the word. She's really passionate about, championing the right to age well and encouraging women to break boundaries in fitness and in sports world.
Right.
But also, I was thinking as a tip generally for people, maybe it's also just about sharing what you're passionate about with people around you, having something that gets you excited to go out into the world and talk with people and encourage people to better themselves in whatever ways you're passionate about. That can also give us energy and optimism.
Mm-hmm. Optimism is everything, she says. And it really is true. You need to keep having passion and be optimistic. Do not be pessimistic. Don't say, I can't do this anymore. Say, I can. And you don't have to be a runner. You can be optimistic about what you can do. Let's see what it says about your living legend. Can you read that for us?
Well, sure. So we do have a nice little sidebar here. We get to learn more about this iconic runner. It says, in addition to being a fierce advocate for seniors and optimistic aging, Switzer has been a lifelong advocate for women runners in general. In 1972, she co-founded the first women's-only road race. In 1984, she led the drive to get the women's marathon into the Olympic Games. And in 2015, she founded 261 Fearless, a global nonprofit that empowers and connects women through the action of running, encouraging them to overcome life obstacles and embrace healthy living.
That's a beautiful example of not only is she keeping active, but she's actually doing things. She's advocating these different people for her whole life long.
Yeah, she's really found something she's passionate about and is able to help others and bring that message to a lot of people.
So in Chinese we say, 加油, keep on.
That's right.
要继续, keep on. Mm-hmm. And you can keep fit and you can keep well, and you have to be optimistic. If you're not optimistic, it's hard to do anything.
That's true.
So live your life with hope and with passion and enjoy what you do. Keep studying. You can still learn. You're never too old to learn.
That's right.
Always learning, and you're never too old to keep your physical strength the best you can. So thanks for being with us. We've had a great time discussing the article. Whether you're young or old, life, remember, age is just a number. Just do what you can for whatever age you are, right?
That's right.
So thanks for being with us, everyone. Have a good day today.
All right. Thank you. Bye.